So a couple other things that I've been looking at is to either make or build a forge and either make or build a foundry. And personal choice on this one, I know there's a lot of good YouTube videos out there about making your own stuff, but I ended up buying my forge and foundry. And I love making my own stuff when I think it's practical, but in this case I just didn't think it was. So the forge and the foundry that I bought were both made by a company called Devil Forge. And if you're watching this video, you've probably at least looked at these or heard of them. Maybe you're contemplating buying them yourself. I was pretty impressed with how quickly they arrived. The shipping time was really fast, and the original estimate that they gave me on shipping, they beat that by like 2.5 weeks. So I just got these things today, and I want to get them out of the box and check them out. So I finally got everything unwrapped, and there's the foundry. Back there's the forge. Get into those in just a minute, but let's look at all the parts that you get in these kits. And I've essentially got kind of two of everything, but so you get a pressure regulator and all the different fittings that you need. You get the hose that goes to your propane tank, and then you get the rigidizer. And the rigidizer you have to mix up and paint onto the insulation. Single burner there, that's for the foundry. That looks to be the arm for the door on the back of the forge. And then I got my double burner here for the forge. So you've got a technical certificate for the pressure gauge. You've got some extra ceramic fiber that goes in around where you mount the burners, and instructions. And you got a couple pages of instructions. It even comes in a piece of clear plastic so you can keep them clean. And then over here, fire brick. I assume these two pieces here on the left are for the forge, and this one is for the foundry to go on the base, so your crucible can sit on that. So as far as the foundry goes and the forge, I mean, both products seem to be really good quality. They seem to be very well made. There's the mount for the burner for the foundry. Got a lid that comes open, a pretty decent hinge there. And then, of course, inside, there's not much to that. I mean, that's pretty much all it is. Let's look at what's on the bottom. So the bottom, it looks like you got some pieces of steel welded on there so that it has so it's up off the ground. And that's pretty much it. Pretty basic. That's all you really need. So far, my opinion, is a real quality product. The outer metal is thicker than I thought it would be. And looks good. So this is the forge I bought, and I like this model because it's square, and it also had the optional door, so you can leave that door open, obviously open or closed. And this looks pretty good too. You got your two burner openings here. So over here is your main opening, and I still have to work on that insulation and get that tucked away and put that rigidizer on it. But first impression, pretty good quality. So the next step is to get these instructions here, and I guess it's like 1 part rigidizer and 0.7 parts water. So it's a mixture of water and rigidizer. Get that mixed up and then paint that onto the insides of both things. Put these connections and cables together for the propane and get them fired up. So one thing I wanted to show everybody is what this thing looks like with the rigidizer on it. So that ceramic wool or KO wool stuff is it's pretty bad. So you got to coat it with something, and the rigidizer is supposed to at least help. I don't think it solves the problem. I really think the only way to solve the problem is with refractory cement, but this is better than nothing. So I didn't film me putting this on because it got dark on me, and I didn't want to do it inside. But when you deal with this wool stuff, make sure you use all the proper PPE. You really need to have on gloves, a respirator of some sort, and I also recommend long sleeve shirt, and of course eye protection as well. All right, so I have actually tested this. I actually tested this thing last night, so I know this thing's working really good, and it's really impressive. So it's all hooked up, and I want to turn it on and show you guys. So when you fire this thing up, it sounds like a tornado. It's really much louder than I thought it would be. Really puts out a lot of heat. I mean, I just ran it for a few minutes, and it's really hot. You can increase the heat as well, or the amount of flame, by adjusting that regulator right there. So the last thing I have to do here is let this thing cool off, but I just wanted to test it out. But I need to put the ceramic insulation into that opening right there, because if you crank up your regulator, some flame will come out of there. So again, when you're working with that ceramic wool, make sure you use all the proper safety gear. And something that I didn't do that I wish I had done is saved a little bit of this rigid Iser, because I used it all and now I don't have any to put on the ceramic insulation that I put in there. So if you can remember to save some, if you buy this kit, save some of that rigid Iser. Wow. All I can say to that is wow. That thing is awesome. Really cool. Much louder than I thought it would be. I cannot believe the amount of heat that these things put off. Definitely something that you're going to have to do outside. That is really cool. I didn't even fire up the second burner on the forge, and that thing was glowing. It was starting to glow red hot already. Wow. Pretty cool. So both the forge and the foundry are working. Really had minimal adjustments to the burners, and they're working great. I'm actually really impressed with them. So stay tuned to the channel. I plan to use the forge to make knives, or at least try to make knives, and the foundry I'm going to melt down aluminum and do some sand casting with that. So if you like the video, if you like the content of the channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.